Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a watch that's been getting a fair bit of buzz lately, and it's the Whale Shark from Blessington, a Microbrand all the way from Australia. Before we get stuck in, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Tanner and the team over at Blessington for sending this watch from down under for me to have a look at. Now, full disclosure guys and girls, this is a paid review in the sense I do get to keep the watch. However, as always on this channel, every opinion I'm about to hear is entirely my own. Nothing has been approved, edited or influenced by Blessington, and you're getting exactly what I think of the watch, the good, the bad and everything in between. So let's start with the watch itself. Straight off the bat, I quite like it. It's got plenty going for it, although it's by no means perfect. There are a few design choices that left me scratching my head, which we'll get into shortly. But first, let's talk about the standout feature, that dial. Honestly, it's absolutely gorgeous. The colour is rich, deep blue that in most indoor lighting or on overcast days can almost look black. Then the moment the sunlight hits it, the whole thing comes alive and reveals this stunning ocean blue tone. It's dynamic, eye-catching and really captures the Whale Shark inspiration Blessington were aiming for. Now there's no getting away from it, it is a very busy dial. There's quite a lot going on with the texture, pattern and markers, so I can understand why some people might struggle to read the time at a quick glance. Personally, I've never had an issue. In fact, my eyesight seems to be the only part of my body that's never given me any trouble, so I've been able to read it perfectly fine in all lighting conditions. That said, I can see absolutely how it could be a problem for others. My wife, for example, couldn't read the time on it whatsoever, so it's definitely something worth bearing in mind if visibility is high on your priority list. Moving away from the dial and onto the bracelet, and this is where we run into our first real head scratcher. Blessington has decided to fit a butterfly clasp to what is visually a dive style watch. It's a very odd choice if I'm being honest. To make matters worse, there are no half links included. Because of that, sizing the bracelet was a bit of a nightmare. It was either slightly too tight or slightly too loose, with no happy middle ground. A half link would have solved a lot of that frustration, but personally, I'd rather see a proper diver's clasp fitted instead, ideally something with on-the-fly micro adjustments. At around the £200 mark, there are plenty of micro brands offering exactly that, so it does feel like a missed opportunity here. While we're talking about the bracelet, the finishing is worth mentioning too. There's a lot of polished surface area, which means it's going to pick up scratches and hairline marks fairly quickly, and mine has. It's also a bit of a fingerprint magnet. If you're the sort of person who likes to keep your watches spotless, you'll probably find yourself giving this one a wipe down fairly often. So let's have a quick look at the specs. So we've got 42mm across the case diameter, and it's got a thickness of 12mm. The bandwidth is 20mm, and the case and bracelet construction is 316L stainless steel. The bezel is tungsten, which is highly scratch resistant, and you've got a sapphire crystal. Running the show is a Swiss Ronda 515 movement, which is very reliable, and we've got 200 meters of water resistance. Now we need to address the elephant in the room, the movements. It's a quartz watch. Now personally, that doesn't bother me at all. I love quartz. It's accurate, reliable, low maintenance, and you can just pick it up and go. That said, I know plenty of traditional watch enthusiasts and mechanical purists will immediately be put off by this. At this price point, there are competitors offering automatic movements, so some buyers will inevitably see that as better value. Whether that's a deal breaker or not really comes down to personal preference. One thing I do love about the Blessington Whale Shark is the tungsten bezel. Now if you're not familiar with tungsten, it's a highly dense material that is really scratch resistant, and the bezel itself is excellent. It's one of the better bezels I've had on my wrist. The action is just lovely, it doesn't feel mushy, and it's a really well integrated bezel from Blessington. One area where Blessington deserves credit is the water resistance. With that screw down crown, the Whale Shark comes with 200 metres of water resistance, which is absolutely respectable for a watch at this price point. It's more than enough for everyday wear, swimming, holidays, and pretty much anything the vast majority of owners are ever likely to throw at it. Given a dive watch inspired design, I perhaps still love to see even more water resistance in a future version, but realistically, 200 metres provides plenty of confidence and certainly doesn't feel like a compromise. Now let's talk Lume. When fully charged, the Lume looks brilliant. It's bright, crisp and genuinely impressive when you first step into the dark. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to hold that brightness for particularly long. The initial glow is excellent, but it fades quicker than I'd like. When Blessington release their version 2, I'd love to see them upgrade to something like BGW9. A stronger, longer lasting Lume would really complement the rest of the watch and elevate the overall package. So what do I think of the Blessington Whale Shark overall? I think it's a good watch. It feels solid on the wrist, the build quality is decent, and that dial is genuinely one of the nicest I've seen at this sort of price point. At the same time, I don't think it's doing anything particularly groundbreaking. There are a few frustrating decisions, particularly the clasp and the bracelet setup, that stop it from being an easy recommendation. Would I recommend it? If I'm being completely honest, £200 feels slightly on the expensive side for what you're getting. It's a handsome watch with a cracking dial and respectable overall quality, but when you start comparing the specifications against some of the competition, including certain AliExpress brands and other entry-level micro brands, it becomes a tougher sell. Once again, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Blessington for sending the Whale Shark over from Australia for review, and as always a huge thank you to all of you for watching. If you've enjoyed today's review, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for plenty more watch content coming your way. Before you head off, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of the butterfly clasp on a dive style watch? Let me know. See you later guys, take it easy.